So for everyone who's tuning in, Samantha, can you just tell them a little about yourself, where you're from and what it is that you do?
Well, I am 28 years old. I am from Atlanta, Adamsville.
Atlanta.
Yeah. I am an endometriosis advocate. So I go to high schools and I teach young ladies about endometriosis and what it is, symptoms, things that they can ask their doctors when they go, start talking about their periods and birth controls and stuff like that. Things that they need to know. I tell them my personal journey with endometriosis and how I'm dealing with it and everything that I do. But I'm also a self-published author. I've written 3 books, 2 novels, 1 poetry book.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That is so, girl.
Okay.
2 novels.
No. 3. 3
no,
novels.
2 novels, 1 poetry.
1 poetry.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's dope.
So, I'm sorry, I gotta ask, because
Yeah.
I'm into writing poetry, but mine be about real life experiences. Is that how your poetry is?
Yeah.
Okay, that's deep. That's deep. Where
I have on Amazon and my website. You can go www.samanthadene.com. I have my books there.
Sis.
Yeah.
Okay. You know she right too though.
Yeah.
Laura is a whole author out here too.
I can. We done talk, so I can.
Okay, sis.
I can see that. What you like to write?
Well, I have 3 books out as well.
Oh yes, ma'am.
But it's not about me. So we're going to keep it moving. We're going to learn more about Samantha Dene.
Yes.
Let them know, what happened with your journey with endometriosis that made you, so, passionate about it now to, spread the word to the youth?
Well, I was diagnosed in 2014. How I was diagnosed was I was having a period, and back then my period was 8 days at a time. So my 3rd day is my worst day of my period. And I took some codeine pills, and I didn't know anything about narcotics, and I was used to taking 1,600 milligrams at a time. I took 6 codeine pills, and the next day I woke up and I was so dizzy. I was in the shower, I was about to faint. And I was like, something don't feel right, something's off. So I went back to the doctor who prescribed me the codeine pills, and she wasn't there, but another doctor saw me, and he was the one who's like, I think you may have endometriosis. And he asked me, do I have bad periods? Do I have pain with sex? Do I have painful bowel movements? And he was like, those are the top 3 symptoms, for having endometriosis. But he said the only way you can find out is if you have a surgery. You can't just get a CAT scan or MRI, to find out if you have it. You have to have surgery. So I'm about 6 weeks from graduating. I'm like, dang, I don't want to have a surgery, and I'm about to graduate. So I waited. And at the same time, I had 2 ovarian cysts that I didn't know about. And they were both the same size as my uterus. And my uterus is enlarged. So it's the size of an orange when it's supposed to be the size of a lemon. Because I've never been pregnant or had kids. So I had those 2 cysts. So I got the cysts removed. And then when I got the cysts removed, that's how I found out that I had endometriosis. And when I found out, it was I was depressed. Because my doctor, she was like, this is a chronic illness. There's no cure for it. You're going to always have it. And you're going to always have to deal with it. And I'm just damn,
right.
Sound
like a bad
okay,
Right.
what am I supposed to do with that? So then I started doing all this research. I didn't know anybody who had it. So I didn't have anybody to talk to outside of my friends. But they don't have it, and they didn't have bad periods. So they got it because I'm their friend, but they didn't get it because they weren't going through it. Mm-hmm. And so I was in a relationship at the time when I found out, and that relationship kind of caused me to heal myself, so to speak, because he wasn't as accepting of it, even though he was trying to understand it at the same time. And he wanted kids, and at the time I didn't know if I was gonna be able to have kids, and it really broke me. I was on chemo. The chemo put me in a premenopause, so I was 25 going through menopause, but I still had a period all at the same time. So I was going through the hot flashes, night sweats, and all that. And then it was one day I was man, I almost rather not be here than to have to deal with this pain, because I have to have surgery every time it comes back, which is every 3 to 5 years. So I'm never gonna not need surgery. I'm always gonna need surgery. So I'm I'm gonna need surgery every 3 to 5 years. Every 3 to 5 years I'm gonna have to have surgery. Who wants to have to get cut open every 3 to 5 years? Right. And I was depressed, and I was I'd rather just not be here than to have to deal with it. And I thought about it, but I couldn't bring myself to do something like that. And I don't know, one day I kind of looked at him, and I was like, this, like, something not right. And I think I just looked at myself in the mirror, but, like, took a real step back and looked at me. And I was like, you can't let this defeat you. Like, I can't let a disease run my life. Because I'm in my 20s. I'm supposed to be having the time of my life right now. Like, supposed to be having the best sex of my life. Supposed to be, traveling, hanging out with my friends. Like, doing all the stuff a normal 20-year-old would be doing, while she's not married and while she doesn't have kids. And I'm sitting in the bed depressed. Like, can barely get out of bed. Can barely take showers. Like, showers are worth, too hard for me to do. Like, I was just so exhausted. And I had to tell myself, I can't have a disease and let the disease have me. That's not going to work. Because it ain't no cure for it. I'm going to always have it. So, I'm only 25. So, am I going to spend like the next 40, 50 years just depressed in the bed, like complaining about it? Or am I going to like try and figure it out and try and see what I can do to like at least help me to, get better? And it was a struggle. It was a long journey. It took a lot of talking to myself, with even like going on social media and talking about it to people and telling people about it, because nobody knew I had it outside of my friends. And once I started talking about it on social media, I guess it was like a release, because I started helping people. Like, I started getting DMs from ladies, especially like women of color. They'll send me messages and like, I'm going through the same thing, and like, I don't know anybody else, who deals with it, and my family looks at me like I'm crazy when I tell them that my period is bad. And they're like, how can you have a bad period? Like, because their period is not bad, they feel like, oh, nobody else should have a bad period. And they always think, like, we're making it up and we're just trying to get sympathy. And like, I've came across like women who have committed suicide, from this, because like nobody's listening to them. Like, you go to the hospital and you get turned away. I've been to the ER plenty of times on my period, and I get told, oh, you must be pregnant, or we can't do anything for you because endo is a mystery disease. Like, I've been left in the hallway with an IV, and the doctor said, I don't know what I'm supposed to do for you, but give you some morphine and send you home, because it's a mystery disease and we're not educated enough here to help you.
Wow, that's deep. That's really deep for all these people to be, experiencing it, and the doctors don't even know what's going on. And it's good that people like you are placing a light on it, because you're teaching some people something new tonight. Even hearing how long the periods last, that's crazy. Tell some people what's the longest you've heard a period lasting with this disease.
I've heard of a young lady. She lives, I think, in Amsterdam or somewhere in Europe. She's doing a documentary right now, actually, and don't quote me, but her ever since she started her period, and she's like maybe like 24, 25 now, every day she's had a period.
Oh my!
Oh wow!
Every single day since she started her period.
And are these full-blown periods, or is it spotting?
I think it's full-blown.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll find out when her documentary comes out.
Okay.
Because I haven't talked to her personally. I've talked to her publicist about it, and I've seen the trailer for it, but...
Okay. So can I ask you, with you being a black woman, one thing that stood out to me was how you talked about the male doctor. Like, helping you and him being aware. Yeah. That's something that a lot of people look over. We always want to go to a woman, because we're comfortable, and sometimes women lack that knowledge that we need. Yeah. And it was a good thing that happened to you.
Yeah, like, had I not almost overdosed on those codeine pills that day, I don't know how long it would have taken me to find out, because I had been seeing so many doctors, and I kept asking, why is my period so bad? Like, all my other friends, like, they don't have periods this bad. Like, when I'm on my period, I can't eat for the first 5 days or drink water, because I'm going to throw it up. So it's no purpose in me eating. I don't sleep for the first 5 days. I have to sleep like sitting like this on the first 5 days of my period. And like, all my friends are like, something's wrong with you. Like, for me, I thought it was normal, like, because that's ever since I was 12, like, that's how my period's been. So I just figured like everybody's period was like that. And then all my friends was like, no, like, it's just you, like, your period's like that. And I was like, but damn, is something wrong with me? Like, I thought it was normal. And my mom would tell me her period was bad, but back then they might, they don't talk about that type of stuff. So she may have had endometriosis and, never knew. I don't know if it's a genetic type of thing, but it's hard. I feel like it's a little harder when you're a woman of color, to get them to listen to you.
I actually read a study that stated that doctors are trained to kind of ignore black women and brown women when they complain about pain because they honestly look at us all as like drug addicts. And I'm not, like, women of color are getting more into that home births because they're afraid. And I've spoken about this on the show before. They're afraid to go into the delivery room because we're not making it out. You know what I mean?
Like, a lot of people don't realize, like, childbirth is like almost the number one killer for African American women.
Yeah.
Like,
and
why?
That's crazy because
like, why?
They all want to. This the thing that get me now, and what I've listened to, just like a lot of recent mothers, they want to do a cesarean. They not even letting you have your baby naturally. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand the ones where the heartbeat dropping, it's a real life emergency. But for these women who can go in there and push and have their baby, they not letting them do it. It's been 4 women in the same room as myself that made 6 of us, where 5 of us had cesareans. And I'm like, why? I was like, so what was your reason? And they was like, well, they said, this and this and that, and the baby wasn't coming. And I'm just like, that ain't no real reason to take no baby. And I feel like that's another reason why they're doing that with African American women, because it's decreasing us. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? To go and cut us, if you don't cut us right, we're bleeding internally. Like, that's the quickest way to kill a black woman is on the bed of giving birth.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people don't like to talk about that.
Yeah. And it's good that you, like I said, are out here at the high schools and speaking to students and young girls who may be battling it or may battle it later.
Yeah, I've had some high school students that tell me, like, my period is bad, just like that.
Yeah.
And they don't have nobody.
So you like that big sister to them.
Yeah, like, I had this one student, she was like, I don't even have a period. Like, I'm not on birth control. I just don't get one.
And you know where it come from? Not like that. Yeah. Sometimes a lot of females now, especially with what you're eating and what you're using, they're putting testosterone in it, which is causing the estrogen to decrease. Down. Like, if you notice, a lot of women who have mustaches and stuff like that, they don't really have menstrual cycles, or their uterus has shrunk. Because of the testosterone. Stuff that they put in the food. Yeah. Like, I don't eat dairy anymore. I don't eat chicken. I don't eat turkey. I don't eat red meat. I don't eat processed food. Like, that's what happened to me and chicken.
It's nothing but freshwater seafood and fruit and vegetables and herbal supplements and stuff.
Yeah. But I love my meat. So
it's hard.
So let me.
It's hard.
So let me ask you, with being a survivor and advocate of endometriosis, what is one thing that you could tell a woman in your strength who wants to have a baby and who wants to be in a successful relationship to do, to be just, confident in herself?
The main part is you really got to heal yourself. Like, a lot of people don't really take the time to, like, get to know themselves, for one. Like, a lot of people don't really know who they are. Like, you need to know who you are outside of the endo. You need to know who you are outside of a relationship and outside of having kids. Like, you really need to know who you are and to heal yourself, because, like, a lot of women, or at least for myself personally, like, I carry a lot of trauma in my womb. So, like, my womb is, like, always heavy. And once I started, like, meditating and getting to my spirituality, like, it's not as heavy anymore. Like, if you're looking for someone, like, I want to have kids one day, at least one. They say naturally I won't be able to conceive because I have a lot of scarring, like, on my fallopian tubes, so the egg won't, make it down. But I'm
only God.
Yeah. I'm not, like, at first I was worried, I guess. Now, and more so worried because it's like, when you meet somebody, you got to explain this to them. Right. People want to have kids, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there's no guy out there who don't want to at least have one child. So it's hard, like, when you got to explain that to somebody. You got to know who you going to explain it to, because you don't know how long you're going to be talking to somebody, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to tell somebody too early, and then it scared them away, but then you want to tell them too late, and then they leave you and you done fell for them. And it's like, well, you can't have no kids, so
that's heavy.
Like, yeah, like, so I think like for me, like I'm learning to heal myself. I've healed a lot of stuff about myself, and like at this point, I'm like, you gonna have to take me the way I am, and God already has somebody for me who is gonna accept me for what I have. Like, so I'm not worried about it anymore. I used to be worried about trying to have kids. I'm not worried about it anymore. Like, God had already had that handled before I even knew anything about this. So who am I to worry about it? Like, I'm not gonna stress myself out over, like, when the baby comes, and however the baby is gonna come, it's how it's gonna come.
Right.
Like, whether I adopt, whether I foster, whether I'm a stepmom, like, whether I naturally have kids, whether I got nieces and nephews, like, however I have kids is how I gonna have kids, and I'm not stressing out about it no more.
And you got hundreds of kids that you reach out to on a daily. You know,
those could be your babies.
Those are your babies. You know, so again, salute to you doing that. Salute to you being a black woman out here, you know, educating other black women, especially being from Atlanta, Adamsville to be exact.
West side.
So that's really dope, and it's really big because we need to see more black women in a positive light.
Yeah, and I think, like, I don't understand why talking about your period got to be so taboo. Like, why is that so bad to talk about, as if it's not the same thing that everybody goes through. Like, you know, like, and even for guys, like, I know guys don't want to, you know what I'm saying, talk about periods. They don't want to hear, you know, about that type of stuff. But it's natural, and you're gonna have a daughter.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a wife.
You're gonna have a wife.
Girlfriend.
Somebody. Yeah, like, you know, when you're
because they don't go through it. So
it's
because
and
also because they're not aware of it.
Yeah.
Like you don't see a lot of, I can't speak for other races, but you don't see a lot of black women educating their sons on women's health. Like my son, I have explained to him what a unipearl is. I have explained to him, you know, just a period in general. So they know. So if they don't know, you can't expect them to be like, so what is it? Even at 40, like, Charlotte, what it is. You know?
Like I think, like, they need to start implementing this, like, in the health classes. Like, they talk about everything else in health, but why you don't talk about periods? Like,
so have you thought about becoming an advocate for that movement, getting it into the classroom?
Yeah. Trying to figure out how they can implement that in the school system.
Girl, you'll be the first.
Yeah, guys.
That's really dope.
Because like I taught a class at Doug. And
Astro? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I taught a class at Doug, and I asked the class, what, like, do you guys know what happens when you have your period? Like, do you know that means, like, the lining of your uterus is shedding? They looked at me like I was stupid. They didn't know what I was talking about.
And that's
I'm like,
basic.
Yeah, like, that's the stuff you at least should know about your period. Like,
I just think you bleed.
They didn't know anything, and it's like, why? Y'all are like, y'all are 15 and 16, like,
y'all fucking,
yeah,
you don't know this,
right.
Exactly, like, y'all out here having sex, but y'all don't know nothing about your period. Y'all don't know nothing about your body.
So, can I ask you, do you, in your 2 novels, in your 1 poetry book, do you write about that in your books? Okay.
Because I didn't know about it.
Okay.
When I wrote my first book, it was maybe like 6 months after I was diagnosed. So I wasn't planning on writing a book. Like, the book just kind of came. I was really trying to write a blog, but I was trying to write a blog based on a character and not just a blog about me or like fashion and stuff like that. And I don't know, I had a character that really stuck out, and I just took that one character and I just made a whole nother story just based off that one character.
That's cool. So can you just run by, you know, like, just give us a little touch on each book, you know, what each book is about.
So it's called The Defense and The Defense 2. So The Defense is about a woman named Avery. She is 27, from Alabama. Leaves Alabama from her abusive ex who tries to kill her. When she moves, she's like one of those girls that she's not really trying to be committed. She just want to fuck, and that's it. And that's all she needs. But eventually she falls for somebody that she meets, and she tries to, like, she throws all these defense mechanisms to stop herself from falling in love. But eventually she falls in love, like, she can't help it. But she's paranoid that the ex is going to come back to kill her at the same time. So it's like she's falling in love, but she's still looking over her shoulder. And The Defense 2 because I won't tell you how the first one ends. So the defense 2, it picks up, and I at least tell you she goes to jail, and through jail she learns like a lot about herself. Like she goes to therapy. I hit a lot on about like mental health and how it's important, to go to therapy and stuff like that. So she goes to therapy a lot. She has a therapist, and he plays like a really big role in her life. And the series ends well, but she goes through a lot of stuff. Yeah, and my poetry book is really a collection of poems that I've written since I was like 19. And in the poetry books, I've written letters to myself, and in those letters, I talk about my endo. So I wrote a letter to my 18-year-old self, my 21-year-old self, and then to my 30-year-old self. And thinking the letter to the 30-year-old me, because I'll be 29 next month. So I'm slowly getting to where I need to be, like especially as far as my endo goes, because I know in my letter, like I told myself, you'll be married, like don't stress about having kids or getting married or meeting somebody who's gonna be able to like not handle what you got going on with your endo. Like it'll be healed, it'll be fine. Like I know I wrote that in my letter, so now I'm slowly getting there.
Manifestation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's
it works.
That's really dope. So right now, Samantha, what are you working on?
A whole lot. This mind just be going a mile a minute, y'all. So I'm working on a play about endo.
Okay.
And want to have it premiere here. Then I really want it to be a traveling play and hit like major states, and the women that I know who live in other states with endo, and they could come in and see the play. Their people, their families and friends can come in and learn about endo. But have you guys ever seen the Vagina Monologues?
The Vagina Monologues?
They call it they changed the name to the pocketbook. Well, they don't put vagina on the advertising. It was like the pocketbook monologues. And they talking about...
I don't like that.
They
I like the Vagina Monologues. That's better. But yeah, it's something like that. Like it's a monologue type of play. Working on a few plays and movies, writing scripts. But really with my endo movement, like I'm really, really trying to get into like... I really want to go to all the high schools in Georgia.
Okay.
And teach at least one class in all the high schools in Georgia about endo and about their periods, and trying to figure out how to get organic sanitary products into these girls' hands, because these other products are trash.
Yes.
And they don't realize like it makes it a whole lot. They make your period a whole lot worse. Like I had to wear a always pad the other day when my cycle started, and my stomach was on 10. And when I was finally able to change it when I finally changed back to an organic pad, my body just went back to normal. And
where do you get them from?
My organic pads?
Yeah.
I use Cherish pads, so I sell them. I sell Cherish pads.
Sell them.
Yeah. Yeah. And they work really well. I don't have to change as often as I used to, because I don't bleed, as much as I used to. And it's probably because I changed the pads. So yeah, like I'm really, really focused on really educating these young ladies about endo, so that they can know, like if they at least hear the word, that's enough for me. I need for them to at least know the word and know what it means.
Yeah, that's huge.
And know what to ask when they go see their doctor.
Yeah,
because like when I was a teenager, I didn't know what I was supposed to be asking my doctor. I was out of birth control. And I didn't even want the birth control for sex. Like I was just trying to regulate my period. But like they don't know what to ask. Their parents might not tell them what to ask, or you don't know like how in depth of a conversation like a daughter has had with their mom or their dad about their period or about their body. So it's really important like that they know, about their bodies. Like self-awareness is really, really big.
Can I ask you, do you think that it's best that teenage girls, once in the age of like 12 or 13, should speak with their doctors alone so that they can be more comfortable, or do you think the parents should remain? Because like when I was in there with my mom, I wasn't.
Yeah, I think they should be alone. I think they should
in front of her.
Yeah, I think they should be alone, because I was like that. Like I didn't want to say nothing in front of my mama. Yeah. Like I didn't want her to know I was having sex, like none of that type of stuff. And so I think it's important. Like I had to ask her to leave the room, and once she left the room, like I was able like really, really talk to my doctor about it. So I think that's important. I think it's important to start them off once they start their period, to really start them off with talking to their doctors, telling them what they need to ask, because if they don't know and then they have something going on like me, like it takes on average at least 7 years for somebody to get diagnosed with endometriosis. And most women don't get diagnosed until they're trying to have a kid, and then it becomes hard, and then that's usually when they find out about it. And if we can not so much prevent it, because there's no cure for it, but if you could, get a teenager who has stage 1 endometriosis versus somebody who has stage 4, then that would be a lot easier to manage.
Yes. Okay, well, for everybody who does not know, just tell them who you are again.
Samantha Dene.
Where they can find you, where they can follow you, if they need any, advice, if they want to purchase the, what are they?
Cherish pads.
The Cherish pads. Just tell them where to find you.
My Instagram is _Samantha Dene, DENAE _. All my links on my Instagram. So if you want to buy pads, if you want to purchase my books, if you want to go to my website or my YouTube channel, it's all under there. My website is www.samanthadene.com. If anybody out there like is dealing with something like this, and it doesn't even have to be endometriosis, it can be like any type of women's health issue. Like if y'all feel like y'all don't have anybody to talk to, you can DM me. I respond. I'm not one of those people that won't respond to a message. I get a lot of women who message me and, they say, thank you for, like, really speaking out about it. I was afraid to talk about it. I didn't want anybody to know, that I was going through this. And, they ask me a lot of questions. They kind of don't have a lot of direction because their doctors aren't really listening to them. Mm-hmm. So they ask me a lot of questions. So if y'all have questions, I will respond. Okay. Because I'm all for educating. And, we can Google all day, but we got to talk to each other.
Yes. Exactly.
Like, we got to talk to each other.
Exactly.
And that's what's wrong with us black folk. We don't like to talk.
We gotta talk.
And we gotta talk.
Be ready to listen.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we have to be open.
Yes,
you can't shut nobody. You can't shut nobody down and tell them, "Oh, your period not that bad."
Yes.
Right.
Because I see it all the time.
Mental health, like you spoke on.
Yeah.
That's with anything. Don't downplay a way a person feels.
Yeah. Just because you don't feel it.
Just because you don't feel it.
Mm-hmm. Your story has definitely brought light to me in the holistic womb world. Like I only know a certain part of it, but your story was definitely an eye opener.
Thank you.
And you definitely have Slam support.
Oh, thank you guys. I like y'all. Y'all can bring me back anytime, okay?
So we do appreciate you for coming out to Slam.
Thank you.
Again, we had the exclusive with Samantha Dene. You're going to be seeing more of her. We're definitely going to post you.
Yes, ma'am.
And everybody follow her. Go to her page.
Follow me.
Support. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is Slam Radio. I'm your girl, Alora.
Lucy.
And we out.